Guys, we're going to take a quick break right now in terms of coverage because right now we're going to go to Andy Reid, who's at the podium speaking with the media.
Looks like we'll do the same today. With that, time is yours here.
Coach, Legarius told us last night. Stand by. Please raise your hand if you have a question, okay? Coach, Legarius told us last night he had cleared the concussion protocol. How is he feeling at this point, and how important is it to have him back in the secondary?
Yeah, it's great to have him back. He did get out of the protocol there and pass it and is doing well. So he'll be back at working.
Andy, we all remember the last time you were in the Super Bowl. You didn't have most of your starting offensive line, but that was obviously what dictated the game with Patrick running for like 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Can you just revisit that offseason, how you rebuilt it to these 4 new starters that you have, and how important that rebuilding of the offensive line has been to you getting here now?
Yeah, so the offensive line has done a nice job. We actually have a couple of the guys still remaining from that team, and then we've added a few in. Brett Veach made that one of his projects after that Super Bowl and did a nice job of bringing in the new guys. They fit in well and done well.
Coach Reid, obviously it's been a long time since you've been back in Arizona. I know you were offensive line coach up at NAU. How has Arizona changed since you've been here, and how does it feel to be back in the Super Bowl here?
Yeah, so I stop by periodically because my wife's family is from here. And so we drop in every now and again, and the valley has grown. I still remember driving from Los Angeles, and I-10 stopped out by where the stadium is, and you'd get off and drive through a bunch of fields there and to get to Glendale. And it's grown. I mean, it's grown and grown and grown. Tribute to the politicians in the city that have done a nice job putting it together.
And then obviously with Super Bowl events, I get 2 weeks between the game, but with the momentum you guys have had, do you feel like you'd like to just play 1 week after the championship game, keep the momentum going?
No, I mean, I think it's good to get the rest in, heal the guys up that were banged up a little bit, and then there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of prep, this type of thing, and the tickets and all of that stuff that the guys have to deal with. So taking a couple days to get that knocked out, I think, is a good thing, and then you're able to prep and get yourself going and try to put out the best product you can.
Coach, you mentioned some of the...
All right, that was Chiefs head coach Andy Reid, who's taken on his old team. We'll talk about that, of course, one of the many storylines coming into Super Bowl 57. But, guys, one of the things that he just confirmed right now, Legarius Sneed, who was injured and cleared concussion protocol in the AFC Championship game. Rick, I'll start with you. Obviously, what does that do for what is a pretty young defensive unit?
Yeah, that's huge for them going into this game, especially with that young secondary and with Sneed back in. I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to match up against the Philadelphia receivers. Will Sneed be on an A.J. Brown, or will they play that zone scheme behind him, let Sneed on the outside? They put McDuffie inside over the Nick in the Cincinnati game and had his best game of the season. And Watson on the other side, too, who's he's going to match up with. So I'm kind of curious to see, once they game plan, now that they know that Sneed will play, how they'll match up against the Philadelphia Eagles receivers.
Yeah, and who will go target? I mean, clearly you want to target a rookie, so Watson's probably going to be the guy, but it's one of the storylines. I said there's 100 of them. Here's another one, right? The Chiefs have had the most snaps played by rookies this season of any team in the NFL. The Eagles, the least or the fewest. So you better believe they're going to rely on that experienced guys who've been to the Super Bowl, guys who played a lot of football, going up against those rookies who, look, sometimes being naive to it all may be a good thing for them, Pete, but I think in this case, you better believe you're going to try to target and isolate those rookies when they get those opportunities in the secondary and try to take advantage of your Philly.
You know, Rick, you mentioned something. Where do you play Sneed? Sneed's a pretty good tackler. He's physical. So do you play him against that offense in the slot? Is that where you would play him in this game? They've moved him in there because he played in there against Jacksonville. He played in the slot.
McDuffie's a natural fit to me, at least body size and all that, and we're looking at his skill set.
I don't know, because they did that against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville was another team that they thought would run the football a little bit. So I'm curious to see where they play him at.
I mean, look, defensively, I think people always think when you put an extra defender in the box, you're always thinking that post-high safety look and all that. Now, more often than not, you get a little cover 2 corner play. Those guys play that force defender strong, especially with quarterback run game. That could be impactful, too.
And the one thing the Chiefs did the second half of the year, they were playing a lot of 8-man box or bringing a guy down. And then all of a sudden, they didn't do that, which put a lot less stress on those rookies on the back end, and they've been a lot better in coverage since then.
One quick thing. Jalen Hurts has struggled against the blitz this year, and Steve Spagnuolo is known for going after the quarterback. Do you leave those young corners out there by yourself? I would, personally. I'd go after them.
One last thought before we hit a commercial break here. So we heard from Andy Reid here. This is the Kelsey Bowl. It's the Reid Bowl. And, of course, it's the Super Bowl. Pete, I'll start with you in terms of Andy Reid. He left Philadelphia. They won one. He's won one. What do you think the Andy Reid storylines are going to be here going against his old Eagle team?
Where does he rank if he wins this game on the list of great NFL coaches? You know, before he won, he was always considered, he's that guy that can't win the big one. But he was always a great coach, and I don't think he ever really got his due until he actually won that. Now I think he wins another one. He moves himself way up that list. There's only a select handful of guys who've won 2 Super Bowls, not to mention what he did in Philly and building 2 different teams at the powerhouses. I think Andy Reid's one of the best coaches who ever coached the NFL.
I'm right there with you. I think it puts him in rarefied air. It helps cement his legacy as not only a future Hall of Famer, but I think what he's meant offensively to the game of football, too, for him. And then I think for Patrick Mahomes, if he gets another one, you're looking at putting him in the stratosphere of could he actually chase down Brady? The track record looks like it's there so far, but at this point in time, he'd be the only one you could say even has any sort of shot of it.
Yeah, both of those guys end up winning. They're going to be future Hall of Famers, I think, because not a lot of people have been able to accomplish what if they win, are going to accomplish.
I want to remind everybody about Inside the NFL. James Brown and company will have you covered every Tuesday, streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus. When we come back, we're going to break down Ryan Wilson's latest mock, which quarterback ends up where, and how many in the top 10.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.